Our focus is on flexibility, injury reduction, and athletic performance with my special guest, Chris Purvis, a physical therapist, athletic trainer, who not only tries to prevent injuries, but also helps you recover from them. Chris, welcome once again.
Thank you.
The reason we're talking about flexibility, Chris, because that's almost a forgotten component when we talk about fitness on a daily basis. Can you expand on that, please?
Well, you know, everybody, Bill, hears about flexibility, and we hear a lot of talk now about how important flexibility is. Whether we actually see that in practice, you know, before people really get into an exercise program is a little bit different story. We see all types of different stretching programs to improve flexibility, but not all of them work the way that they should work.
Okay, Chris, let's focus on injury reduction. In your clinic, Chris, why is flexibility a component that we should really not overlook if we're concerned with injury reduction and if they have existing injuries?
Right. Well, flexibility it allows a full range of motion through the range. The joints move in a certain area. We're able to move by having flexible muscles. So what flexibility allows us to do is to get that full range with the least stress on the body. Most of the muscles work in coordination with another group of muscles. So when we're tight on one side of the joint, we're going to create some stresses and some problems in that area.
A good example of that, Chris, would be the knee joint. And you got the front, the quadriceps, and the back of the hamstrings. Now, we go to the second point, Chris, athletic performance. You know that there's been some controversy. Some people are saying that flexibility actually decreases performance. And what can you share with our viewers to counter that and actually say, hey, flexibility is still important?
Well, what the studies show is that the more flexible you get a muscle, actually the weaker you make the muscle. So what do you need to do with it? You need to strengthen with your flexibility. And so what you do, as you're incorporating your stretching program, you're also keeping that muscle strengthened at the same time. The combination of the strength and flexibility is what gives you the best chance of being injury-free in whatever sport you're doing.
Chris, there's different types of flexibility. We know about the dynamic or ballistic, and there's the static. What are your feelings on that?
Well, used to, you know, we got a lot of no-nos for any kind of ballistic or movement type stretching. For a long time, people said you had to be very slow and very deliberate. But the research now is showing, if you look at sport, look at the way these muscles are used in the sport, very seldom is it a slow, steady, controlled stretch. Most of the time, it's an extremely fast or ballistic type stretch. So while the slow, controlled stretching will definitely get you more length in the muscle, which is what you want, you also need to incorporate some ballistic type stretching so that it simulates more of the performance that you're going to go through in whatever sport you're doing. By taxing the muscle that way, you prepare it for the stresses that you get when you're in the sport.
So in essence, Chris, we're talking about the carryover effect from the gym onto the playing field. And also we talk about specificity of training. That's a good example.
Correct.
In summary, Chris, when we look at flexibility, why do you feel it should never be left out of our training regimen?
Well, like you said, we talked about earlier, injuries will come quickly if flexibility is not taken into consideration. And you got to remember that any of the soft tissues in the body stretch much better when they're warm. So a lot of people will start out a stretching program right when they walk in the gym, when everything's cold, and any tissue that you're going to try to stretch, as it warms up, becomes more pliable. So that's why we talk about doing a little cardio warm-up, getting the body temperature up a little bit, and then going through a really good stretching program.
Chris, thank you so much. This is the continuation of a series of athletic performance and injury prevention with Chris Purvis.